Today we're going to have a look at another handbrake shifter combo, the HGP shifter and the HBP handbrake by Moza Racing. These come at a very affordable price, but are they any good? Let's find out. So first of all, big thanks to Case King for organizing these units for review and Moza for sending these. If you didn't know, Case King is the European distributor for Moza and has a lot of sim racing stuff on their website, so check that out. But as always with these kind of reviews, neither Case King nor Moza Racing gets to see the review before it's posted, and all the opinions are my own. So let's put the shifter aside for now. We'll start with a handbrake. This one costs 129 euros at Case King, and that is including taxes. And it is made out of aeroplane grade aluminum. I don't know what that means, but what I can tell you is that the build quality is absolutely amazing. Honestly, I've had a close look at this and I can't think of a single thing that I would improve in this. It's just, the build is perfect. Everything is aluminum, cover here is aluminum, the grip feels very, very nice. It's just a very, very pretty looking device. It is very, very light, and also the black matte finish, in my opinion, looks very good. There are no sharp edges. It also feels very good when you grab the handbrake. No complaints here. So I've tried other handbrakes before, and those typically measure the force you apply on the handle. This one measures the travel. I personally think for a handbrake that's perfectly fine and probably works just as well. It's probably different if you use a handbrake as your regular brake when you're using hand controls, but I have no experience with that. But yeah, this measures the travel with 16-bit resolution. Also in the box you get this little bag with springs and tools. And let's actually grab these two for now because I want to show you something. You can mount this either like this, or you can also mount it 90 degrees rotated. So depending on your scenario in your rig, you can either have this parallel or perpendicular to the base, and if you want to mount it like this, that's perfectly possible. A lot of different mounting options with a handle here, that's pretty cool. Connection to the PC can be done via regular USB, or if you have a Moza wheelbase, you can use this RJ9, I think, connector to directly connect it to the wheelbase. I tried both, works fine. The electronics in here also look very nice. Some interesting routing of the USB traces, but it works very well on the rig. They use an STM32 processor in here. That is very common in sim racing. And the silk screen also has CAN bus labels. So I don't know if the RJ9 connection to the Moza base is maybe done via CAN bus, but CAN bus is being used in real cars. No idea what's up with that. Okay, sensing of the position is done by a GMR sensor, which stands for Giant Magnetoresistance. And GMR is a phenomenon in which the electrical resistance of a material changes significantly in response to a magnetic field. I don't want to go too much into detail here, but think of it as a better, fancier Hall sensor. That is not exactly true, but it's pretty much doing a similar thing. It does measure the magnetic field in 3 dimensions. Pretty useless for a handbrake, but actually the shifter uses the same technology, so it makes sense to have the same sensors in both because of volume discounts. But yeah, GMR sensor is superior over Hall sensor, so no complaints here. Just higher manufacturing cost for Moza. It does come with 3 springs in total. The yellow one is the one that is pre-installed. Then I put in the blue one, which is a bit stronger. And then there's also a rubber elastomer spring. To replace the spring, you need to remove this aluminum cover here with insanely tiny screws. I don't know, it's like screws that you find on smartphones typically. No, it's not that small, but they are tiny. At least they send you the tiny screwdriver you need to remove it as well. It was a little pain to remove this, but I mean, how often do you do it? I don't think it's a big deal. And you can also adjust the travel of the arm in 2 positions. If you look at these 2 screws here, you can see they are currently in the position that is further in the back, and you can remove these and then move the end stop further to the front. And then that gives you less travel on the arm. But I like the default one. But if you want to reduce it, it's possible. So compared to the Another Way sim racing handbrake and the Huizingwelt handbrake that I also have here, this one has significantly better build quality in my opinion, and it just looks the best. I love the matte black finish. I'm definitely with MKBHD here, matte black, all the things. It looks great, but keep in mind this measures travel of the arm and not force on the arm. I think that is very viable for a handbrake. In terms of feeling, I think overall I prefer the Huizingwelt and the Another Way sim racing handbrake, because even with a stiffer spring, this is still relatively light. What I probably will try is see if I can find an aftermarket spring that is a bit stiffer. I don't see any reason why a stiffer spring wouldn't work with this. And if I can increase the resistance a little bit, then I would probably pick this over the other two any day because it just looks pretty and should feel very comparable with the stiffer spring. Maybe I can probably use some of the elastomers that I have laying around that are stiffer to... Yeah, I should try that. Just put in some hard elastomer. So much for the Handbrake. Let's talk about the shifter. This one is 159 euros at Case King, including taxes. And it features the same amazing build quality as the Handbrake. Everything is made of this aeroplane grade aluminum. So I guess if you're done with sim racing, you can build a plane out of it. The shifter obviously is much bulkier than the Handbrake, but obviously there's also way more going on internally. In the end, this is just a lever with some resistance. And here we have an H-pattern shifter with 7 gears and a reverse gear. If you peek inside here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It is kind of hard to see, but inside here there's some leather. I don't know if it's fake leather or real leather that protects the internals from dust. I think that's a very nice solution because you have this opening here on the top. And as I said, it's an H-pattern shifter and you cannot switch it into a sequential mode. That can be done with some other shifters, but also this is relatively cheap. I think we can't expect all the features for the price. You already get the amazing build quality and the shifter is really, really good. It is heavier than the Handbrake, but it's still relatively light compared to other gear that I've had in my hands. And it also uses this GMR sensor, as in the Handbrake, to determine, yes, love, the gear you're currently in. So it senses the position and then sends that input to the game. So we have 6 normal gears that you can switch between. Oh, hard to do while you're holding it. And then there's 1 reverse and 1 7th gear. To get into these gears, you need to push the lever down, and then you can go to reverse or 7th gear. The shifting itself feels very nice. The gears lock in very nicely with a very satisfying click and feedback. I don't have a lot of gear I can compare this to. I have the H-pattern shifter from Thrustmaster, the TH8A. And from these two, I definitely think the Moza is much nicer and feels better for changing gears. It is not very loud. It might sound louder on the microphone here because of the vibrations that spill into the microphone. But if it's on the rig, I mean, it is audible, but the sequential shifter I have from Another Way Sim Racing is like way louder than this. So it's definitely not inaudible, but it's also not annoyingly loud. They also have a feature called Intelligent Downshift Throttle Blip. What that is doing is if you shift down, it will send a blip on the throttle, so you don't have to do it. We are probably slightly on the verge of cheating here. But this also only works with Moza pedals, so unless you have Moza pedals, it's nothing that you can use anyways. But it probably can be very useful, especially for beginners in sim racing. But in a competitive scenario, I don't know if I would use it, to be honest. Okay, another feature, you can exchange the knobs of both. So I thought, cool, let's try how it feels the other way around. And they use a different pitch on the thread. Moza, why? What? Why? So yeah, if you buy something to replace these, pay attention to the pitch. I think the size is the same. I don't know, maybe some is some weird imperial thread and the other metric, I don't know. But the pitch doesn't match. You cannot interchange the grips with these two. Not a big deal, but maybe change it so it's the same. For mounting, both devices have plenty of options. You can either mount from the top with screws, several holes here. You can mount from the bottom, there are holes with threads in here. Also very nice, the holes actually line up if you mount from the top. I assume from the bottom kinda as well, yeah. That is nice. I had no issues to mount these on the rig. Also, I like that the Handbrake is relatively compact compared to the Another Way, because I have my Stream Deck on the rig as well and there's not a lot of space. No problems mounting these. But yeah, I will quickly show you the Moza Pit House software, because you can do not a lot of customizations, but there are some options. Something that I criticized on my Moza R16 review, I think it was, is that the installer has some Chinese and I had no idea what I was accepting there. Did not receive any washing machine, so that's good. That's been fixed. The installer now is in English. I don't know if there's a German version. My PC is set to English, so I saw the English installer. But the first time I started the software, everything was Chinese. I found the language selection and it was set to English. Still, everything was Chinese. Not a big deal. All I had to do is like start the software again and then it was English. Was just a little bit confusing. Overall, I think the software looks very nice. Obviously, there's only the Handbrake connected right now. It has a very modern look to it. Typically in sim racing, you have software that looks like it's made in the same year as the iRacing engine. But this has a very nice modern look to it. I like it. And here we are on the page for the Handbrake. There are 2 modes. There's the axis mode and the button mode. We're in the button mode right now. So what that is doing is if you have a game that does not support axis for the Handbrake, you can just use it as a single button. Very nice. Most people, however, will probably use it in the regular access mode. And then you can do some custom curves here if you want to. You can also go absolutely crazy, because why not? Oh, the smoothness of that input is very satisfying to watch though. Yeah, there's also calibration, very easy. You click start calibrating and then you do this and you're pretty much done. And you can also invert the handbrake. I don't know why you would want to do that, but it's an option here. All right, next thing, we'll have a look at the handbrake. So let's select the handbrake tab here. You see here we have the auto downshift throttle blip. I can't use it because I don't have Moza pedals connected. But then again, like I said, I probably would not use it, but whatever. The features we have here are very minimal, but I mean, what do you expect? It shows all the gear changes here. You can even see how it goes into neutral in between the gears. Very nice. And then there's also a calibration. I was confused. How do I calibrate a shifter? But actually, it tells it here what to do. Within 10 seconds, press and move the joystick back and forth from far left to far right. That means push it down, go to the left, go to the right, and then it's calibrated. So yeah, Moza Pithouse software. Very, very nice looking software, but it's definitely more useful for stuff like bases and wheels. Not a lot of options for these two. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the UI here. Typically, I would hop into the rig now, but I want to spare you with my horrible rally driving. For whatever reason, H pattern, clutch, sim racing, I need to practice that. I'm so bad at that. I have zero problems to drive a manual car in real life, but like in the rig, I'm just like, too bad. Definitely will require more practice for me. It is a lot of fun. I will definitely keep using these two devices because the H pattern, it's just very satisfying to hop into an old car with an H pattern and then having to use the clutch actually going through the gears. Very, very nice. Feels very good. Can highly recommend. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge for me in the sim rig. It's probably similar. If you've ever tried left foot braking in your real car, it's kind of the same thing. Don't do it. But yeah, both products are absolutely great. Zero complaints apart from maybe like change the thread so you can interchange the knobs. Build quality amazing. The way how they work, the functionality and the features and everything, very good. Nothing to complain. Would be nice to have a sequential mode, but then again, this is a very affordable shifter and you cannot have it all. Thumbs up from me. Definitely can recommend. And that's pretty much it. If you liked the video, maybe give it a thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel because there are more exciting reviews coming. For example, the new VRS wheel. I haven't looked at it yet, but the box looks very nice. So let's check that out soon. And in general, if you have anything else that you would want me to review, leave a comment down below. I'll try to make it happen. That's it. I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye bye.